There will be a situation created where we are not tied to a place. Palienko says that dogs and cats are not doing well there. Guys, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they perform a certain function.
And what about the kindergartens? If everything there is the best that can be, the most progressive in the whole world, guys, your future will already be wonderful right now.
I wanted to ask about the role of our physicality in shaping events and how that will change or not change now. Because I have the impression that before, for example, any technique you mentioned, like washing dishes while attaching an intention, was a physical act of grounding. How important is it now? Because it seems that maybe it has already moved to the level of feelings. Simply, those who do not feel it need physics to ground their ideas so that something materializes in their lives. And if we reach the sensory level and feel our path there, do we need to ground ourselves all the time like this? How?
Well, of course, I provided these models for, well, people like me, who were once clueless, who were correct. Here they are, well, correct. Because when you are tuned into seeing the beautiful, feeling it, and you have a creative impulse from love and joy for others, that is it. Nothing else is needed. Because you immediately feel, well, the sensation of this sofa, the sofa. You admire a car, the sensation of the design. You go outside and feel nature, the beauty. You just feel it. Plus the creative process, joy for others, the feeling of being a man or a woman, not associating yourself with those beliefs or definitions that you gave today. Well, as some people say, like, Palienko says that dogs and cats are bad. Guys, I don't say that. I say they serve a certain purpose, and based on this purpose, we can determine. And so, I calmly get myself both a dog and a cat. And I was even gifted a flower, which miraculously, knock on wood, I hope will keep growing. Yes, it's sitting there somewhere on the bar counter.
And I treat this calmly because I know the function of every cat, dog, or flower and what it brings. Well, I don't have this is bad or this is good mindset.
There is a concept of timeliness.
And of the process, the life process.
Yes, if the time comes, I will easily start using Samsung if it begins to have these parameters. I will happily get 10 cats and they will surround me, and I will enjoy interacting with them. And maybe, someday, I might even start smoking a cigarette. Well, maybe that time will come, and I will be okay with it. So, the point here is to remove this aggressive, categorical view that this is bad and that is good. And yes, when I state the parameters of those who eat meat, or those who only eat greens, or those who feed on prana, well, it means that at any moment I can become one of them, or I can immediately switch to something else. An important point is to remove the rigidity and the framework that blocks you. And when someone says, the most important thing is a daily routine. Guys, a daily routine is killing your body. You need an intuitive daily routine, but it shouldn't look like I'm always lying on the couch. That's not a daily routine. That's degradation.
All right, how important is the physical aspect for children right now? Or in the end, you say, well, be as bold as you dare, but there is the concept, just as you say, of this new sphere, which is in inertia, which says that there is statehood, there are child protective services, that we cannot just drop everything and start acting differently, right? So, we are somehow carrying the burden of the existing system. Online education, perhaps physics. What to do?
The question is, to what extent
This generation to whom we brought diamonds.
The thing is, what we have,
We send such
what
ones there?
we don't. We don't understand. We just send a sensual mental state of love there. It doesn't matter. Our schools, our institutes, our social programs, we send love there. And, well, I would of course say, well, honestly, well, like that, yes.
If we all just imagine that in every country in the world, immense attention is given with love to all kindergartens and homes. Well, for orphans, the state gives its maximum.
There are the best specialists, the best equipment, and a lot of love. It is as if these are chosen children, surrounded by love, kindness, development, toys, new technologies, I do not know, travels, excursions, and museums. I mean, if we give our maximum there, then we could, I don't know, rehabilitate in 3 years all our 1,000-year-old mistakes that we've embedded in the noosphere and can't seem to work off. Because with children, always consider that it's always times a million.
But if you personally start dealing with orphanages, well, most likely you will pass away. Well, if you really deal with it, you will pass away very early. Or your help will be ineffective if you stay alive. So, this must be at the state level. If we all dream that governments will take charge and not primarily focus on restricting children. Well, take our situation, for example. Our friends from New Zealand, when they travel somewhere, they welcome the fact that children are traveling. But in Europe, just try missing a day of school. They will give everyone such a hard time, you wouldn't believe it.
So, the issue here is, how should I put it? One of imbalances. If we look at the general state of development, all the knowledge we could gain in school is not actually fundamental to the future success of a child. The main thing is that he has an interest in life and enjoys interacting. That is all. But I just gave you a tool.
And how we dream about our countries dedicating as much time, energy, money, opportunities of the best specialists, motivation for kindergartens and orphanages where there are orphan children, or some boarding schools. And these will be the best institutions in the world.
Well, that is it. We will say, that cheat code that takes and changes us, and changes our world. Because you know how the place you enter is defined by what the restroom is like. Our statehood is defined by that. And what about the orphanages?
And what about children's hospitals? And what about kindergartens? And if everything there is the best that can be, the most progressive in the whole world. Guys, your future is already here. Even if you are clumsy and incompetent, it will be wonderful. Just like that.
Wonderful. Give me your top 3 recommendations for adults who are at this stage of transition, at this kind of crossroads. Well, we can certainly recall what you said in the forecast, right? For the next 3 years, move around as much as possible. This will help, it's like grounding, and will facilitate the flow of new energy and information here. Do I understand that correctly?
Here is a question. Those listening to us right now will find this very interesting. An effect will be created where we won't be tied to a place. This is the coolest time.
We will have these awesome processes for about 100 years. At first, they give them to us with these tough things, like forcing wars, epidemics, some conflicts, some incomprehensible economic situations.
But then it will become a natural process. You live here, then you live there, then you live here, then you live there. Maybe you will have property, but you will rent it out. But it is important, the parameter, yes, for the next 100 years, to move around the world.
Well, at least 3. Let's do that.
Well, over 3
Tangible.
years, it's like, easier for us to absorb all this new information. Why? When we're in a new location, it's new energies emitted by the planet Earth, which means adapting to them will be much easier and simpler. Like that. To the knowledge that we already have, and we will be able to travel only where we need to travel.
1. 2 is what you have already mentioned in principle and said before, that I am both a helper and an assistant, whom we are messing around with, playing with this, right?
Yes. And basic settings. Basic settings are honesty and authenticity, the feeling of being a man, a woman.
Acknowledging how we behave, and doing so without any sense of duty, pity, or victimhood. And, at the same time, as much as possible, finding pleasure and joy in any actions we take.
And true joy for other people when they succeed at something, or something good happens to them. Children were born, they built a house, bought a car, started a business, got an amazing haircut, or bought a perfume that really suits them. In other words, to be genuinely happy for others.
And this is kind of a key point. If you really know how to feel a wow moment from the fact that someone has achieved something in life, it indicates that all the previous things we talked about are already at that level. And it's like a background state.
Both men and women can enjoy this now. Think about children and imagine every child you see in your life having everything turn out awesome for them.